But actually, we have this number 1 rumble over here. If we maybe use a little bit of distortion, so I'm going to use the trash again. I'm going to drive the mids a little bit so we can complement each other. Again, keeping the very lows clean, and then there we go. Now let's listen together. Automatic EQ. See rumble. Last in chain. It's important to have the last in chain so you can actually see it better, so you know which one you're looking at. Last in chain. So we have another issue there, and the rumble last in chain. The rumble almost has no issues. Slightly here. Basically non-existent anymore. So basically now the rumbles work together, and we have to make sure that the PunchBox and the rumble 1 now also work with the sidechain. So we still have to sidechain it. Just again. Still not completely happy with the sound of the kick drum, but I think that has more to do here with the top part than the bottom part, if I would be focusing on this. This is already cool. Now I layer my kick drums with top kicks from either samples from Splice or any given source. The reason I like that is just because it's a bit easier than to create it yourself without going through a lot of hardware. I do have some hardware here, but it's very time consuming and it's not something that I can do on the road. I have this kick pack, which is it's everything for me. It's the Kari Lakebush kicks. Kari is a techno legend from Sweden, and he just dropped this kick pack on his Bandcamp page. It's only 10 euros for 60 kicks or something, and all of them, they're insane. So I'm very often using like a tuned bottom end. So I'm tuning the bottom with PunchBox, making sure that I have like a solid low end in the scale of the track. Most probably it's going to be the root note, but it should be at least in the scale. And then I'm using one of these kind of more characterful top kicks from a sample. This could be any sample, Splice. You can even steal it from someone else's track or basically sample it. It's not really stealing, but so I'm using this one here. Then I'm just going to take this out. I made a preset here in the Pro MB. This is the Multiband compressor. It's called Kick Split, but I will recreate it from scratch so you can actually see it. If you go to basic and then 3 full bands, then over here you put the threshold to 0 and the range to 0. Here, same thing. Threshold 0, range to 0. And the third time. Now, we can actually solo bands like this. Oh, you have to put it to linear phase, otherwise it's gonna phase. Kind of find the sweet spot. I think it's kind of cool and cohesive over here. Getting the Pro MB, putting it on the top kick as well, and then instead of soloing this, I am now muting that part. I can very easily play that top kick, and it will solo out the top. See? Kind of match the volumes a bit. Nice and distorted analog sound. You can even, to get a little bit more of like a glued feel, you can use like an SSL or I'm a big fan of the SSL plugins, like the new ones. They also have this drum strip. It's amazing. It's a bit slow though. Get a bit of a transient shaper. much. The high frequency enhancer. Nice bit of modern touch there. You can also just use like if you're more of a stock guy, you can also use the glue compressor from Ableton to kind of get those mids out a little bit. High attack, 30 milliseconds, short release, get like between 0 and 5. A little bit of short, soft clipping. I'll talk about the clipping later on. Makes it a bit more boxy. You have a little bit more of surface area. Like this, I managed to do a lot of my kick drums. I always double check in the end with a bit of EQ. I can even take out a bit of the lows, I think. See, very characterful, very controlled and round kick drum. Low end is very, very clean together with everything. There you go. That's how I create my low end. So there are a few things to keep in mind. This is like the first step. So there's the kick, there's the rumbles, and there's kind of the groove rhythm. A few things that I would sometimes do is kind of group these and then go like really deep into group processing. I also have over here, I have a few chains like channel strips. There's the insane kick chain. I think it's like 25 plugins or something. Way too much, way too overproduced, but it sometimes helps to just generate a huge, huge kick drum. It sometimes helps for certain, for certain type of tracks. Like this is very clean. Even though it does have a bit of that distortion warehouse vibe, it's still very, it's very controlled. To be inspired, sometimes you want something that is completely out of control. You want something wild. You want to jump in your studio. You want to be like, get the party mood going. So sometimes I just basically go to like a random distortion like this Devastor. It's a very ridiculous distortion. And then
Filth On Acid.
you see, I can go really deep with this and just get a bit of distortion going. Or also you can go to the Decimort that will kind of do the same thing. There are a few presets like the MPC one. That's way too much. Like, you can go heavy techno if you want. See, this is very clean, and this is a little bit more of that old school 90s vibe. So depending on where you want to go, you can use a lot of these types of distortion to kind of give it your own taste. And I would really want to instruct you to go as deep as you can on that distortion part and really try to get your own character and your own kind of style there. But I find it very important for low end to keep everything, as long as you can, keep everything completely under control. Keep the low ends around, keep it nice and sine wavy. And make sure that every layer is tweaked accordingly. That's very important for my low ends, to make sure they hit well inside a club.
I love it. Wow.